Hello, good evening everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Am I clearly audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Today we will discuss about block 4, that is pedagogical approaches, in which unit 14 preschool teachers and teaching profession, unit 15 parent teacher society interaction, unit 16 understanding child development methods and tools, unit 17 understanding and improving child behavior and learning. Now, pedagogical guidelines, basic principles. The principles adopted by the teachers when they work with the students, they are: the students should be provided secure environment so as to achieve confidence in all their activities. Hence, the learning environment should be supportive and productive. The second is, the students should develop communication skill which help them to be good listeners and to maintain good interpersonal relationship. They should be motivated to imbibe societal norms and culture and be good citizens and should be able to make plan for their life ahead. Thus, the learning environment should promote independence, interdependence, and self-motivation. The student should be able to make wise decisions and solve problems effectively. They should also develop the ability to cope with emotions. So the students should be challenged and supported to develop creative and critical thinking skills and apply them. Next is, the learning program should take into account the student's needs, his interest, and perspectives. Next is, they should be evaluated and assessed scientifically. Now, preschool teachers. Preschool teachers play an important role in the development of children. The education and learning experiences of the early years help to develop and shape their educational, personal, and professional future. As we know that this stage is very important It is the preschool teachers who lead the children to the formal school, basic skills, language, art, music, mathematics, science, and environmental studies are introduced by the preschool teachers by using a variety of educational strategies which include storytelling, games, and hands-on activities that will help a child to learn vocabulary, social skills, and numerous other concepts. The preschool teacher's responsibility is to take care of and educate children before they enter kindergarten. Language acquisition and social ability are also developed in children with the help of preschool teachers. Completion of a bachelor's degree in early childhood education will be of utmost importance and gives the background for a preschool teacher. Since preschool children primarily learn from play and interactive activities, preschool teachers utilize a less structured approach to learn when compared to elementary school teachers. Now, qualities of preschool teachers. The following are some qualities which a preschool teacher should possess. First is the teacher should be a role model, an ideal teacher who, through his thoughts, words, and deeds, gives an impression of an honest, upright life. The second is the teacher becomes an embodiment of right conduct in thought, word, and deed. The student, by their association, will learn values and develop many qualities. Now, every teacher must have a good responsibility. Teacher should be radiant, pleasing, and impressive in personal appearance and should have refined and pleasant manners. The teacher should have good mental and physical health. Next is teacher should have sound social philosophy. A teacher should possess knowledge of the methodology of early childhood education and must have the required professional training. Next is the teacher should be accountable for the progress of the children. It is now pre-primary teacher training. The success of failure of a preschool depends on the teacher who is the backbone of the pre-primary school. The achievement of the developmental plan of preschool education depends to a large extent on the quality of the teacher education program in the country. Hence, it is important to have extensive teachers training program and improve the existing ones to promote quality education in our country. Now, components of pre-primary teacher training program. Teacher training programs have three core components. The first is subject matter studies, and the second is pedagogical studies, and the third is in class teaching experience. Now, the first point is subject matter studies, which empower teachers with the subjects and knowledge base that they will then transmit to their students. Second is pedagogical studies, which equip teachers with the skill for effective teaching. And third is in class teaching experience, an academically organized opportunity for them to practice teaching in classroom, which is supervised by experts. A balance between the three is most likely to result in well-trained pre-primary teachers. When the pre-primary programs don't include any in-class teaching practice, the teacher don't learn how to better apply their skills upon entering the professions and may not be able to work effectively at the start. The lack of pedagogical studies lead to teachers not exposed to their theories and concepts surrounding sound methods of instruction. Too much subject matter studies for pre-primary teachers given at the very basic level will be used for instructions and hence their teaching will not be effective. Now, objectives of pre-primary teacher training. The objectives of pre-primary teacher training are as the first is to enable the teacher trainee to develop understanding of the psychological concept, principles, etc., governing early childhood and their relevance to early childhood education. The next is the principle and teaching of child care, and the third is the principles related to systematic organization of institutions and programs and maintenance of relevant records associated with these. Next is stage appropriate activities and learning experiences. And the next is the inputs that could be pulled from the natural, physical, and social environment that could be utilized for the education of children. The role of parents, teachers, and their agencies in enriching early childhood education and care. Techniques of evaluating development of children in terms of stage appropriate developmental tasks and principles and techniques of child study. Next is to develop in the teacher trainee the ability to apply the above understanding in devising, organizing, and executing programs in realistic classroom situations. To develop in the teacher trainee healthy attitude towards children and their development, empathy with the needs and problems of children, interest in programs for children development and care, and attitudes helpful for maintaining healthy relationships with the parents and the community and other agencies associated with the education of young children. The next is to develop in the teacher trainee the skill to organize, program, and maintain and use records properly, design and execute stage appropriate activities and learning experiences suited for the all round development of children. Next is identify and diagnose difficulties, deficiencies, etc., and devise compensatory measures identify and pool resources from the environment and utilize them, operate audio-visual equipments, coordinate programs of various agencies systematically. Next is conduct evaluation efficiently using appropriate techniques and tools, give first aid and perform the child care activities in case of emergency, and conduct case studies of children facing problems. Now, educational requirements to become a preschool teacher. In India, a variety of teachers training programs are available for the preparation of nursery or preschool teachers. These programs offered both by NCT, recognized and unrecognized private institutions. Some international organizations and group of private schools in India also provide certificate or diploma levels program in preschool education. The educational qualification for becoming a preschool teacher range from as little as high school pass to bachelor degree. A few universities also offer Bachelor of Education, that is B.Ed, program in early childhood education. The certificate of degree program in preschool education includes courses on various educational subjects. Knowledge of psychology is very essential to a teacher to understand her student in a better way. You will also learn about the role of parents, teachers, the society, and their interaction to bring about proper development of the preschoolers. Now, skill required for a preschool teacher. Skills required for a preschool teachers are good communication skill. Next is good interpersonal skills. Next is awareness about diversity. Next is flexibility. Next is patience. Next is organization. Next is creativity. Now, characteristics of teaching. Characteristics of teaching are: the first is it has well defined functions and well identified nature and scope. It has a philosophy of its own. Third is there are well organized and fully recognized professional organization of teachers. Next is as professional practitioners, teachers too are being substantially paid in recent years. The work of a teacher is presently demanding specialized professional preparation based on teaching technology of instruction. The work now, students spend a great part of their life at a school, and so school contribute significantly into overall quality of students' lives. Thus, personality of teacher is of crucial importance. It is good if the impact is positive and bring motivation for student. As long as children go to school to acquire knowledge and develop themselves, so long teachers are needed, and as long as teachers are working with young personalities, so long will remain the question of their professional ethics. Ethics may be inborn and it can be developed. Some are born tactful, tolerant, and moral enough to become good professionals, while others are taught how to behave in order to attain the required ethical conduct. A preschool teacher should have lot of patience. They should be caring and loving. They should cultivate mutual respect and absolute tolerance. Corporal punishment is a way of humiliating students, while humiliation can hardly be an acceptable strategy in any educational process. Now, professional ethics to be followed by a teacher are: first is teachers should do nothing that cause disgrace to them personally or to the profession collectively. Second is teachers should adhere strictly to the codes of conduct established by tradition and by the great teachers of the past. Next is teachers should serve truthfully and honestly to realize the objectives and functions that are expected of them. Teachers should be conscientious and noble minded as far as their professional activities are concerned. Next is teachers should not make the students suffer and should not be a party to the injustice done to them either by the school administrators or the authorities concerned. Next is teachers should respect their fellow teachers and should never speak ill of or do harm to them. Teachers should try to continuously strengthen their professional competency so that they can serve the pupils to the maximum possible. In India, attempts have been made to evolve a code of professional ethics for teachers. The National Policy on Education 1986 has recommended development of such a code. In pursuance of these recommendations, the NCRT developed the code in collaboration with all India federations of primary and secondary teachers organizations and published it in 1997. Recently, the NCTE has developed the updated version of the code. These codes include statements of teachers' obligations towards students, parents, society, colleagues, profession, and the nation. The next, next, professional competency of preschool teachers. Dimensions of teacher professional competency are: first is activity-based teaching, second is child-centered practices, third is teaching learning materials and display, next is evaluation strategies and remedial teaching, next is novel strategies, now measurement of teacher professional competency. Teacher evaluation can be done in different ways. based on construction and data gathering devices, which can be of four types. The first is in terms of the qualities of the person, as in personality ratings. Second is in terms of interpersonal qualities of desirable professional characteristics. Next is from data collected about professional competency. And next is evaluation developed from studies of the product. Now, ability of self criticism. Self criticism is to note the things critical or important to one's own beliefs, thoughts, actions, behavior, or results, which can form part of private, personal reflection or group discussion. Once you value your progress, you should be able to criticize yourself. The art of self criticism is essential for learning from mistakes and gaining an improved perspective on life. Self criticism can be developed as consider your intentions. Second is be honest. Third is be avoid guilt. Next is don't judge people by the same way. Next is self improvement. Next is don't let pride get in the way. Know your values. Seek opinion of others. The self evaluation by the teacher is an integral part of the teaching as a profession. To make the work efficient, a set of rating scale is used. Self evaluation strategies for effective teachers is a resource for classroom practitioners, preschool teachers, and teacher trainers. Next is role of parents in education. What do the parents learn from the teachers and vice versa? We know that education is and will remain a joint responsibility of parents, teachers, and society. A student gets one fourth of education from his teachers, another fourth by his own efforts, and the rest from the parents. Most children have two main educators in their lives. First is their parents, and second is their teachers. Parents are the prime educators until the child starts school, and they remain a major influence on their child's learning throughout school and beyond. The school and parents both have crucial roles to play in the all round development of the child. It means the role of parents and the teachers is very important for the development of the child. If the school alone makes its contribution and the parents don't play their part, then education will be incomplete. School is only an active formal agency of education which stands in between home and other informal active and passive agencies. School will not be able to discharge its functions properly if it finds it difficult to get along with the home. The parent-teacher conferences and associations are important programs for the development of school community relationship. The PTA can act as a very good advisory body, that is parent-teacher association. The PTA can act as a very good advisory body, serving as a means of sampling representative through it in the community regarding school. Through the PTA, the teachers are able to get a lot of things done regarding children, their family, and the society to which they belong. Now, role of parents in education. What do the parents learn from the teachers and vice versa? We see that through interaction with teachers, the parents are able to know how the child is getting along with others in the school and in the classroom, how the child is progressing in the schoolwork, how the child is taking part in the school program, what attitude does the child have in the school, what recent changes have you noticed in the child, what special help might the child need, what is the level of child's participation in co-curricular activities. Similarly, the teachers have a lot of expectation from the parents, and more than that, they want to seek a variety of information about the children. If we analyze the situation, we come across the following questions. How does the child feel about the school? How does the child spend his spare time outside the school? What particular problem the child might have? What talent, interest, and hobbies the child might have? What recent changes have the parents noticed in the child? What special help does the child need? Now, major objectives of Parent Teacher Association, that is PTA. The major objectives of PTA are to meet the needs of the children at home, school, and society. Second is to understand the quality of home setup. Third is to implement laws to care for and protect the children. Next is to develop a strong rational relationship between the home, the school, and the society. Next is to make joint efforts to help the children in his physical, mental, social, and emotional development. PTA is a must to secure parental cooperation in the education of children. The support and inclusion of parents will improve the curriculum for the children. The parents can tell the teachers about their children. There is a need for mutual acceptance between the parents and teachers. Nothing is basically accomplished in a hostile environment. The school authorities should conduct frequent parent conferences to know more about each other and to exchange ideas regarding the progress of the child and thereby the school and the society. The parental involvement in child's education from an early age has a significant effect on educational achievement, which may continue even up to adolescence and later. Parental involvement, especially at the preschool level, can also provide a range of benefits for children, including the ability to improve their reading skill, pronunciation, writing ability, communication skill, etc. Because many of these abilities are learned at home from parents. Similarly, parental attitudes and aspirations also play an important role in developing a lot of potential abilities in children. International evidence suggested that parents with high aspirations are more involved in their children's education. If we observe the level of parental involvement in child's school activities, we see that it is the mother who keeps in touch with the class teachers rather than the father. Now, program to maintain PTA. If we analyze the present scenario of any school, we understand that the lack of parental involvement in school activities is due to the fact that many school authorities are not making use of the parental resources properly. In this context, discuss some effective strategies to maintain PTA and thereby establish a close relationship with the society. The first is interpreting the school to the students. Most parents get the impression about the school in which their children are studying not from direct interaction with the school but from the comments given by their children, which may be casual talk. The second is school exhibitions. One of the most effective methods of interpreting the school to the parents is by conducting school exhibitions. The school authorities can conduct annual exhibitions of the people work in the school and keep it open to the public. The third is school visits. In order to make better public participation, the school authorities should conduct school visitation program for the parents during which the parents should visit the school where their children are studying. School can organize activities on a particular day or week with slogan visit your school. During such visits, parents can see the operation of the school. Such visits will become fruitful if the teachers and authorities try to conduct a follow-up to these programs. Next is home visits. If you were a student and one of your teacher is coming to your home to inquire about your studies or your prolonged absence from the school, what will be your feelings towards the teacher and towards the school, we are sure that the child will develop a positive, affectionate attitude towards school and thereby he will concentrate on his studies. Such occasional visits by the teachers to the home of their children will give a chance to know about the general physical conditions in the home and to appraise the child's relationship with his siblings, his parents, and others who live in the home. Next is news bulletin. The school can make regular contact with the parents by sending bulletins related to the school activities. Regular bulletins can be sent to the parents to report on significant aspects of work being done in the school. A well edited school paper explaining the changes in the services offered by the school, describing the curricular and co-curricular activities, and reporting honors and awards earned by the students, and the school has been found to be a very effective program. Next is newsletters. Newsletters can provide a steady stream of information from the school to the home and the society. A quality newsletters may well be the least expensive way of information families and society of school activities and expectations. Many schools use it. It should be attractive, well organized, and easily read. If possible, try to give the translations in mother tongue also so that the parents who lack proficiency in English language can also benefit. Next is organization of school survey program. Other than teaching, the teachers can do a lot of research and extension works by making use of the community and its resources. They can investigate about the burning problems of the community. The teacher may collect data related to the drainage system, the sanitary conditions, the hygiene of the people, the condition of roads and bridges, supply of food stuffs, financial condition of the people, the source of epidemic industries and occupations of the people in the locality and so on. Next is positive phone calls. The imagine the impact when parents receive phone calls informing them about the position of his or her child status in the classroom or informing about any other program to be held in the school. Surely such phone calls will have a good impact on the parents' attitude towards the school, letting them know how much progress their children have made in recent weeks or asking if they need any information about school programs and expectations. Home school communication is greatly increased through personal contacts using mobile phones. When a telephone call from school carries information that is positive, The relationship between the home and the school is improved. It gives great encouragement to all. Next is report to home. The school can send periodical reports regarding the progress of a child to his guardian, or even the parents can come to school to sign the report. Now, importance of parental involvement. We have discussed the factors influencing the development of a child. We have stressed the importance of environment, which can be adjusted by a teacher. A student's performance is influenced greatly by the environment, social, and economic factors. The reasons for underachievement may be any of the following reasons. The first is growing up in poverty. Second is inadequate learning opportunities. Next is exposure to drugs or violence at home or school. Fourth is lack of after school care. Next is dysfunctional families. Next is inadequate health care. Next is neighborhood distress. Next is few role models. And next is poor nutrition. If we analyze the importance of parental involvement in the teaching learning process, especially in the lower classes, we can see that it is not the school authorities alone who are benefited, but the benefits also reach the parents knowingly or unknowingly, or also to the community and society. Now, difficulties in involving parents. The teacher, the teachers get frustrated of trying to involve parents and getting little response. Thus, the teacher conclude that parents don't care about their children's education. Lack of time is the major impediment for most parents. Working parents are often unable to attend school events during the day. The other barriers related to the parental involvement are: first is family circumstances. First is family circumstances. Parents may find it particularly difficult to attend meetings if they have a child who is disabled, have a baby or other caring responsibilities. Work shifts have a complex family structure with parents who are separated, and some might have new parent partners. The second is geography. Geographic separation is yet another important barrier in getting parents involved in the school activities. For example, children coming from tribal hilly areas have to travel long distance. Next is lack of confidence. We see that many parents may feel uncomfortable in school surroundings. This may be due to unpleasant memories of their own school days, lack of knowledge or skill putting them at out of place, and having difficulty with reading or writing. Next is unfamiliarity. Many parents feel bad about being a member of the formal parent body. They think that it is not for them. Now, major factors of parental involvement. Any sort of parental involvement in the education of children will have three major factors. They are: first is parents' beliefs about what is important, necessary, and permissible for the children. Second is the extent to which parents believe that the parents have a positive influence on their children's education. Third is the parents' perceptions that their children and school want them to be involved. Now, types of involvement. Parents can involve in the teaching learning process as the first is create daily routine. We know child develops the quality of discipline from the parents from early days onwards. So at home they should try to provide fixed time and a space to play, fixed time and a quiet place to study, assigning responsibility for household tasks, being firm about bedtime and having dinner together. This will enhance the development of positive attitude towards study, studies. Second is supervise out of school activities. We know that if the child is not observed outside school, there is a chance of him becoming a nuisance to the school authorities. So the parents should observe what a child is doing after returning from school. Next is learning through hard work. The small children learn by communicating through questioning, conversation, and demonstrating that achievement is a result of hard work. Next is express high but realistic expectations for achievement. Most parents will have a high aspiration regarding the child's achievement, and if the child is not able to rise to that level, they become exhausted. The parents should set goals that are attainable by the child. Next is encourage progress of the school. Parents should show interest in child's progress at school, discuss value of a good education and possible career options. They should keep in touch with the teachers. Parents should be willing to contact the teachers regularly and keep track of the child, child's progress. Parents being the child's best advocate can influence the child progress as they know their child well. Now, activities for involving parents in children's home learning activities. The Some of the activities for involving parents in children's home learning activities. The first is home reading. Children being home a book to read. The second is activity bag. The bag contains 2 or 3 hands on activity which can develop different skills. Each bag contains a letter to the parents with the directions required for the activities. The activity bags with the instructions are sent home with each child for a week or two, and once completed it is returned, and then he gets a new activity bag. Third is home kits. Theme based activity kits are provided to the child and it is completed in a week and returned. Next is family lending library. The parents have an opportunity to check out books, materials, and audio or video tapes where the teacher demonstrates a skill. Children also have the opportunity to check out books, magazines, toys, and home learning activities kits. The materials they need can be taken home and worked on. Now, understanding child development. We know that developmental changes are strongly influenced both by genetic and environmental factors, which include events during parental life and also the diverse agencies that act on the child after birth. A, a technique indicates a process through which the measurements are made or through which monitoring is conducted. For example, suppose we want to assess the behavior of a particular child inside and outside the classroom. We can use the technique of observation. A tool is an instrument with which the monitoring is conducted. For example, attitude scale test inventories involve generally accepted units of measurements and may be considered as a tool which is a suitable method to check the progress of children. They can also be used to assess the backward children and other cases of difficulties like withdrawn children, maladjusted child, learning disabled children. To study scientifically the internal and external behavior of the child and to predict, control, and guide the child. Child psychologists adopt a number of methods and techniques. These methods can be broadly classified into two categories. The first is sectional study and second is longitudinal study. Now, in order to monitor the developmental changes, the teacher can use various techniques and tools. Some of the techniques we are going to discuss in this unit are observation, second is case studies, third is interviews. Now, first is observation. All sciences use observation as a method to obtain facts. Observation is the starting point of all sciences. It is a systematic and deliberate study of spontaneous occurrences at the time they occur, but simply observing is not enough. One should know what one wants to observe, otherwise, a lot of important facts may be missed. It is the oldest and most commonly used method of child monitoring and child research. Observation provides the first insight into the individual's way of life, his physical health, social adjustment, and overall approaches to situations. Observations can be objective and subjective, planned and informal. Observation is scientific when it is objective, when cause and meaning is attached to what is observed, when various relationships are perceived, and when observation is systematic to find the answer to a question relating to child's growth and development. Suppose a preschool teacher wants to know about the behavioral pattern of the children sitting in the classroom. He should observe them carefully. Observation can be used to assess individual differences among children, to know about the personality of a particular child, or studying the child in depth, to have a deeper understanding of the child and his behavior. By observing the child over a period, can determine the child's, child's characteristics, pattern of response, feelings, and conviction, and his perception of the world around him. Observation provides the first hand insight into an individual's way of life, his physical health, social adjustment, and overall approach to situations. Observation should be impartial and objective and not subjective. Now, types of observation. Major types of observation. Observation method can be grouped under various heads depending upon its nature. They are informal observation and second is time sampling observation. Next is unstructured observation. Next is structured observation. Now recording. The procedure of recording the judgment should be scientific and systematic observations may be recorded by two different procedures. First is systematic recording and second is anecdotal records. Now, systematic recording. In order to observe the behavior of a child, we have to select the location first. Then we have to select appropriate time for observation and if necessary, use a standardized checklist or schedule. The systematic recording is particular, particularly beneficial when one tries to pick out children who need special help in some area. The second is anecdotal record. An anecdote is a word picture of significant incident of the child's life which helps to know him in detail. It records the actual situation observed. Anecdotal record also help in understanding the role of past experiences in formulating the style of life of the child. Now, requisites of a good observation. Suppose a preschool teacher wants to conduct an observation of his student. He should take the following precautions before starting the observation. First is proper planning. Second is proper execution. Third is proper recording of observation. Next is immediate recording. Next is systematic observation. Next is proper interpretation. Now, tools used for observation. Different types of tools are used for observation. Some of them are checklist, rating scale. First is checklist. A checklist is a selected list of words, phrases, or sentences by which the observer records a check. Write or cross mark to denote the presence or absence of whatever is observed. When a teacher wants to test whether some aspects or traits of personality are present in a child, the teacher can use a checklist. Example for a checklist. Checklist for observing the child's response in the classroom. First of all, the name of the child. After that, the sex, male or female. Next is age and date of birth. Whether the child is regular in the class, yes or no. Whether the child gives answer to the questions raised by the teachers, click on yes or no. If yes, whether the answer are relevant or not. If relevant, tick on relevant. If irrelevant, then tick on irrelevant. Whether the child has adequate previous knowledge in the subject, yes or no. The second is rating scale. Rating scale means the judgment of one person by another person. For the assessment of a particular child, the rating scale may be given to the teachers who have sufficient knowledge of the child. A rating scale usually consists of a set of traits like cooperativeness, punctuality, honesty, and so on. If we want to know about the honesty of a particular child while observing the child, the rating scale is used for rating the child. Usually, the degree of responses are indicated in numbers 1 to 3, 1 to 5, or 1 to 7, comprising of 3 points, 5 points, or 7 points scale. Now, rating scale for checking the punctuality of the child. As you sing on in slides, first the name of the teacher, second name of the child, then age, then sex, male or female. Here in slide, using the 3-point rating scale, first is observation. The child often reaches late. The 3 points are first is always, second is sometimes, third is never. The child leaves the school before time. The child is present in all classes. So, this is the 3-point rating scale for checking the punctuality of the child. Now, the advantages and limitations of the observation method. Advantages of the observation method are the observation method is one of the most economical method in terms of time and money, natural and flexible method for identifying the behavior of the children, reliable and verifiable, suitable for studying the developmental characteristics of the children's habits, interest and other personality traits, the most suitable method to analyze the behavior of an abnormal child, Now, limitations of observation method. It has some limitation. They are the overall expression contribute a limited percentage of the child personality, and we are not able to observe what is happening in one's mind. Second, second is it is subjective and has personal biases. Extra emphasis may be given to one's behavior and may altogether neglect some other very important aspects. For a particular trait, the response in the morning and that in the evening or the next day will not be the same. Now, the case study. Case study is also referred to as life history method, an investigate method for understanding and analyzing the child behavior, particularly the behavior of maladjustment, behav- behavior disorders, delinquents, and problem children who needed treatment and counseling for their behavior. Now, the types of case study method. First is daybook method, clinical case study method, biographical method. Now, advantages and limitations of case study method. First, advantages. It is highly reliable. Second is it is the best method to know about the root causes of maladjustment. Next is it can be used as a tool for evaluation. Now, limitations, and we can say that the demerits. It is a time consuming method. Next is case study is usually meant for an individual case and ends with the diagnosis and treatment of the individual under study. Next is a person needs to be well versed in adopting different methods and techniques. Now, interview. If we want to know about the attention deficiency of learning disability of a particular child, we may consult the child parents and inquire about the child's behavior at home. And after that, we can seek the assistance of clinical psychologist to know more about attention deficiency and learning disability. This type of methods is called interview method. Interview is one of the most popular methods used for studying child behavior. Interview is one of the easiest methods of collecting data. It is done in a person-to-person interaction. Interaction, interview is a face-to-face verbal interaction in which the interviewer attempts to elicit information or expression of opinion from another person. It requires skill and considerable experience. Now, advantages and limitations of interview. Sorry. Now, types of interview. There are three types of interview that can be conducted when carrying out a research project or to collect details from the student under study. They are structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. The first is structured interview. The first is structured interview. Structured interview follows a set of rules. Each question should be read word for word by the researcher without any deviation from the schedule and also includes bodily posture, facial expressions, and emotional effects. Reaction to participant responses should be kept to a minimum. Second is semi-structured interview. Though the interviewer is expected to cover every questions in the procedure, they have some additional twist made by asking for clarification or additional information. This twisting of question occurs depending upon the nature of the answers given by the child. Interviewer also have the freedom to be more friendly and sociable. Third is unstructured interview. In the unstructured interview, teachers need only a checklist of topics to be covered during the interview. There is no order and no script. The interaction between the participant and the teacher is more like a conversation than an interview. Now, advantages and limitations of the interview. First, the advantages of interview. The advantages of the interview are interview is the best techniques if the parents is an illiterate. If the topic is very complicated to be understood by the child or his parents, interview techniques is suitable. Next is interviewer can go into details of the child or the person under interview. Next is in order to record the responses of the child, interview is the most suitable technique. Even though it has a lot of advantages, it also has some limitations or demerits, such as it is expensive in terms of money and time. If the teacher is not consistent, then he might feel distressed in asking questions to the interview. Now, improving practices through better understanding of the children. Through the use of various methods of child study of the teachers can have a better understanding of the children and hence they can improve their teaching practice to help mold good behavior in them. These methods help him to know a lot of about the students. Success of an educational program depends upon the proper understanding of the child. So by using these methods, the teachers can understand them properly and plan suitable educational programs according to their needs and interests. Some of the uses of these methods are: the teacher can analyze and evaluate the process of learning, has to know about each and every child's level of performance, and help to identify the backward and slow learner. Next is it helps the teacher to plan suitable remedial teaching methods. The data collected can be used for further reference. We can identify the child who need more guidance depending upon the nonverbal cues given during interview. We can understand the kind of assistance that can be given to the child to make him properly adjusted with the social situation. Next is the behavioral problems in preschool children. The term behavioral problem is used to designate a deviation in behavior to those expected or approved by the group. According to Harlock, 1974, behavioral problem is that behavior which makes life difficult and unsatisfactory for the child and his parents. He has classified problem behaviors into four groups according to the way in which they interfere with the child and and endanger his well-being. They are the child's efficiency, second is physical well-being, third is social adjustment, the feelings of being inferior or inadequate, the general behavior problems found among preschool children may be thumb sucking, biting, bad wetting, aggression, jealousy, lying, selfishness, abnormal fears, use of bad language. Now discuss some of them. First is eating disorders, second is sleeping disorders, third is sleeping disorders, third is enuresis, fourth is temper tantrums, next is aggressions, next is withdrawal, next is quarreling, next is negativism, next is sadness. Now, causes of behavioral problems. The major causes of behavioral problem, especially those related to their emotional development, have been explained by many psychologists. Some of the causes are: first is, if a child is suffering from genetic weakness or defects, it will make him vulnerable due to stress. Second is, sometimes The problem may be due to the conflicts between his basic drive and forbidden environment. Third is problem behavior may be due to learned or conditioned way. Next is some problems may be the result of the inability or failure to meet the cultural demands. So, a number of behavior problems that are possibly exhibited by children below 6 years of age. As far as teachers are concerned, we should monitor such misbehaviors and take appropriate actions at the appropriate time to tide over such situations. The teacher should use several strategies to understand the misbehaviors of children, like child monitoring, conducting action research, and classroom research. Now, child monitoring. Child monitoring means observing the behavior of child and check whether they are in the right track or some behavior problems have been exhibited by them. In order to monitor the child behavior, the teacher can make a chart and mark those behaviors that are occurred during a particular period of time and can make necessary suggestions to rectify them. As you seeing in slide, the table child behavior chart showing positive behaviors. In first column, the different types of activities. First is listening to teacher. Second is going to school. Next is follow the rules. Washing hand before lunch. Next is participation in group activities. Next activity is participation in group songs and action songs. Next is sits undisturbed. Next activity is respond to the questions. Next activity is ask relevant questions. Next is sleeps on time. Next is sits comfortable in the class. So these are the different activities, and in second column, Monday, next is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So this is the table for child behavior showing positive behaviors. The next is action research. Action research is the research undertaken by practitioners so that they may improve their practices. Action research defined action research as a research used by teachers, supervisors, and administrators to improve the quality of their decision and action. According to John Best, action research is focused on the immediate application and not on the development of theory. It has placed its emphasis on real problems here and how in a local setting its findings are to be evaluated in terms of their local applicability, not in terms of universal validity. It advocates that research be the function of group of teachers. This method provides sufficient flexibility to permit modification of the hypothesis and procedures as the study goes on. Its purpose is to improve school practices and at the same time to improve those who wish to improve the practices. Now, objectives of action research. First is progress in school practice. Second is progress of teachers. Next is improvement of the curriculum. Next is knowledge enhancement of the administrators and supervisors. Now, steps in action research. The various steps involved in the action research are: first is defining the problem, second is analyzing the problem, third is hypothesizing, next is designing a test of hypothesis, next is obtaining evidence, next is generalizing. Now, usage of research findings. There are different areas where the action research can be conducted. Now let us discuss some of the areas in which action research is carried out. The first is study of the needs of children. Second is study of the interest of the children. Third is problem of discipline. Next is social problems. Next is problem of learning. Next is improvement of curriculum. Next is problem of teachers. The first is study of the needs of children. The success of any educational system depends upon satisfying the needs of students. A preschool child's need is entirely different from that of primary level and secondary level children. So, different process of action research have to be carried out for each level. Study the interest of children. The primary duty of the preschool teachers is to develop interest among the children as they come from different backgrounds. They will have diverse types of interest and most of them are interested to play throughout the day. In order to develop good habits and positive attitude towards learning, the preschool teacher should utilize the child's interest towards play. Next is problem of discipline. One of the major complaints that we hear from the teachers is the lack of discipline among children. Through action research, we will be able to know the causes of indiscipline and thereby making the teaching learning process effective. Next is social problems. Many social factors affected the learning process. Sometimes these factors may creep into the mental constitution of the teachers and the students. In such situations, we can conduct an action research to find out the root causes of such behavioral problems and thereby will be able to suggest some remedies to eliminate the problems. Next is problem of learning. We know that the process of learning depends upon the methods of teaching. The process of learning is also influenced by several factors like intelligence of the learner, socio-economic status of the child, previous experience. If children are found to be backward in the learning process, the teacher can conduct action research. Next is improvement of the curriculum. The aim of the education should be in tune with the needs and demands of the society. To ascertain the suitable curriculum for a particular society, action research could be conducted. Next is problems of the teacher. The teaching may be influenced greatly by the personal problem of the teachers, especially because of his personality, domestic conditions, level of income, standards of living, level of his scholarship, or his interest in his profession. In the preschool section, our system does not promote research by the teachers by providing sufficient financial support. Action research can help to identify the causes of the problem and help the teachers to overcome it. Since we have covered all the topics, I think we should end the session now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.